Shoppers inside the Cielo Vista Mall in El Paso, Texas, running for cover as shots were fired.
We were just shopping around. We were about to leave, and that's when we heard the 3 shots go off, and then I thought somebody was popping balloons, and I peered out, and I saw the barrel of a gun.
One person was killed. 3 people were injured and transported to a nearby hospital.
In an unpredictable turn of events at the Cielo Vista Mall in El Paso, Texas, a heroic civilian utilized his legally licensed firearm to wound a suspect responsible for a recent devastating shooting. Talk about courage and grit, right? This is a story full of all of those adjectives, all 2 of them.
We have 2 young male subjects on the upper level by the food court that have been shot.
Police say 2 suspects are now in custody.
It was a terrifying day at Cielo Vista Mall in El Paso, Texas. When chaos erupted, shoppers were going about their day, browsing through the stores. Suddenly, 3 gunshots rang out and panic ensued. People frantically sought cover, unsure of what was happening, and initially people mistook the sound for popping balloons, but as they looked around, their eyes were met with the chilling sight of a gun barrel. Tragically, 1 person lost their lives in this incident, and 3 others were injured. They were swiftly taken to a nearby hospital for medical attention. In a commendable display of bravery, off-duty officers at the mall responded promptly to the situation.
We had off-duty officers working at a local establishment within the mall, and were on scene at 5:08 p.m. in 3 minutes.
However, there is an additional detail that wasn't initially shared.
Tonight, we learned more about that shooting at a mall in El Paso that happened earlier this week. Police say the 16-year-old suspect who fired the initial shots was then shot by an armed bystander. El Paso police say the 32-year-old bystander is licensed to carry a gun. The suspected teenage shooter allegedly killed 1 person and injured 2 others before he was shot. He does remain in a hospital. Investigators say the gun he used was stolen.
An armed bystander with a valid gun license played a crucial role in the unfolding events. The brave individual behind this act of self-defense is Emmanuel Duran, a 32-year-old who swiftly responded to the unfolding tragedy. This brave individual intervened by shooting the 16-year-old suspect who initiated the gunfire. The teenager allegedly took a life and caused injuries before being stopped by the armed bystander. Their quick action led to the arrest of 2 suspects believed to be involved. The incident, which resulted in 1 fatality and 3 injuries, sent panic and chaos through the mall as patrons fled for safety. In a turn of events, the 16-year-old suspect, who remains hospitalized, had a stolen gun. According to the El Paso police, as soon as the initial shooting subsided, the 16-year-old suspect began running, brandishing his weapon menacingly towards innocent bystanders. As the chaos unfolded, he pointed the weapon towards Durham with a valid carry permit. Recognizing the immediate danger posed by the suspect, Durham took decisive action. With the suspect running towards Durham and the others, Durham swiftly drew his handgun and fired at the suspect in decisive action, effectively neutralizing the imminent threat. This brave intervention prevented further harm to innocent bystanders. Following the shooting, an off-duty police officer working security at a nearby store apprehended the suspect, ensuring that he could no longer cause harm. He worked alongside Duran to aid the injured suspect and others harmed. The officer played a critical role in aiding the wounded suspect, who was reportedly in stable condition as of Friday. Due to the suspect's status as a minor, law enforcement has refrained from disclosing his identity. However, investigators have revealed that the handgun used in the shooting was reported to be stolen. This troubling revelation adds another layer to the ongoing investigation. The incident is a reminder of how unpredictable, how dangerous situations are in public spaces, or at least can be. Despite the tragedy that unfolded, it also highlights the potential for individuals to step up, for individuals to take action to protect others in moments of crisis. It's really important to note that some gun control proponents often argue that increased gun ownership leads to more shootings. While technically true, they fail to acknowledge the crucial distinction: more shootings in self-defense. Another deceptive claim by gun control advocates is that concealed carriers rarely stop mass shootings. However, this argument lacks honesty and it certainly lacks credibility. When we examine these statistics, it becomes evident that most mass shootings occur where law-abiding citizens are prohibited from carrying firearms. Go figure. However, in states like Texas, where carrying firearms is permitted in more locations than not, incidents like this one described tend to happen. As more individuals obtain legal permits to carry firearms, surely stories like this will become more frequent. As the investigation progresses, charges against these suspects are pending. The police have characterized the incident as a confrontation between 2 groups, shedding light on the complexities and dynamics of the tragic event. One victim, Angeles Zaragoza, a 17-year-old, tragically lost their lives in the shooting. The identities of the other injured individuals, a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old, have not been publicly disclosed. The third person that was injured is male, according to the authorities. This devastating shooting at Cielo Vista Mall adds to the alarming tally of mass shootings in the United States this year. According to the Gun Violence Archive, this country has witnessed over 70 incidents. We find these stories encouraging not only because we are fascinated with violence, but because they signify the power of individuals to defend themselves against criminal acts. Unlike the gun control lobby, refrain from engaging in dishonest arguments. Don't differentiate between a mass shooting and a shooting because both can lead to the tragic loss of innocent lives, right? Our goal should always be to prevent such occurrences. It's evident that the suspect in this case was prepared to harm anyone who crossed his path, as indicated by his aggressive stance and the way that he pointed a gun at people, Understanding the imminent danger, the licensed concealed carrier took decisive action to prevent further harm to innocent people. To ensure the safety of both himself and others, the concealed carrier took decisive action. Decisively. This courageous act exemplifies a changing reality for criminals. Gone are the days where they can freely roam and reign over a place simply because they have a gun. Criminals now have a new concern: the presence of armed individuals for self-defense. It's worth noting that the mall is adjacent to a Walmart, where a horrific shooting occurred in 2019, resulting in 23 deaths and numerous injuries. The 24-year-old gunman involved in this incident recently pleaded guilty to 90 federal charges as part of a plea deal. The investigation into the recent shootings remain ongoing, and the details surrounding the motives and the circumstances leading up to the confrontation are yet to be fully revealed. Previously, criminals only had to worry about law enforcement officers. However, with the rise in concealed carriers, they now face the additional risk of not knowing who's strapped. This development will undoubtedly make criminals think twice before attempting acts of violence or mass violence. And anybody who believes that this won't have an impact on their decision-making is simply lying to themselves. As more individuals exercise their right to carry firearms, criminals will increasingly have to realize that their criminal endeavors might be cut short by a well-prepared citizen. In my opinion, I want a society where criminals are equally, if not more, afraid of the potential response from law-abiding citizens they seek to victimize than the police. It's important to acknowledge that it's a sobering reality of what it means to carry a gun for self-defense. It's a lofty responsibility that individuals have to consider carefully when deciding to, carry a firearm for personal protection. A self-defense situation can be an incredibly frightening and anxiety-inducing experience, particularly if you haven't received the necessary education and training to feel confident in such situations. I understand this firsthand, as I've been in similar situations myself. The thought of having to use a firearm for self-defense is something that I hope that I never encounter, although I know some gun lovers who seem to fantasize about it. There's a couple of weird ones out there. Gotta point them out. Anyways, another similar incident happened about the tragic mass shooting at the Indiana Mall, claiming the lives of 3 more innocent individuals. This shocking incident is unraveling, revealing a courageous shopper who used his weapon to confront and subdue the gunman. The authorities praised the quick-thinking actions of a remarkable individual, 22-year-old Elijah Dickin, who was legally armed and bravely stepped in to stop the shooter. And thanks to his heroism, the attacker's reign of terror ended in less than 2 minutes. As investigators continue their search for answers in this mall shooting, they credit this Good Samaritan with saving lives and averting further tragedy. The bystander hero wasted no time springing into action. Within just 2 minutes of the first shot being fired around 5:55 p.m., he neutralized a suspect by 5:57. He ain't taking nothing from nobody. Chaos and confusion engulfed the mall during these terrifying moments. Witnesses described the scene as a cacophony of gunshots, with people running frantically for cover. Tragically, 3 individuals lost their lives near the mall's food court. Pedro Pineda, 56, and his wife Rosa Rivera de Pineda, 37, who were enjoying a meal, as well as 30-year-old Victor Gomez. Additionally, a 12-year-old girl named Bella Dick was injured by the incident. The suspected gunman, identified as Jonathan Saperman, who cares, honestly, right? Had entered the mall at approximately 4:54 p.m. on Sunday, armed with 2 rifles, a pistol, and over 100 rounds of ammunition. After spending over an hour hiding in the bathroom, he emerged and immediately fired at the first person he encountered. He then turned his weapon towards the food court, firing indiscriminately into the crowd. Fortunately, gunshots alerted the courageous Good Samaritan, who quickly took action to end the rampage. Displaying remarkable marksmanship, he eliminated the suspect, potentially saving countless lives. Investigators have since searched the suspect's residence, where they discovered a laptop and a can of butane in his oven, which was set to high. Although the motive behind the attack remains under investigation, it's known that Saperman had a few minor encounters with law enforcement and had been practicing at a nearby gun range in recent years. As authorities dig deeper into the circumstances surrounding the shooting, they have uncovered that the suspect had recently received an eviction notice and had quit his job at a warehouse, although a clear motive remains elusive. To overcome the challenge of the YouTube algorithm, please subscribe to the channel. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, serious stuff now. Being a member of the USCCA, United States Concealed Carry Association, grants you access to many resources, including comprehensive firearm education, training, and up-to-date information on state-specific gun laws. Whether in your home state or states you might travel to, this knowledge and preparedness can help you navigate potentially dangerous situations, or, ideally, prevent them from occurring altogether. These three robbers thought that they can get all the money from the store, but little did they know that one of the store customers was armed with a deadly weapon, and what happened next will shock you.